Land. Through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the East, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with economic force. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farm. Not only that, but many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
What is up, ADOS and our allies? You know who it is, family. The free Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Friends of ADOS TV channel, bringing you those ADOS hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for a red top, blue bottom, family. And today, yes, family, we're going to get into it. I am still waiting for the very lovely Tara Perry to come over and talk with you guys about the March for Reparations on Inauguration Day and the day after, yes. So hopefully she'll be able to make the show. She's in high demand and being pulled every different direction, trying to get this thing organized and ready to roll. You can actually visit marchforreparations.com to show your interest and to donate so they can raise the money they need in order to make it a spectacular event, right? So we're waiting on her, but in the meantime, you know I've got to give Jim Crow Sloppy Joe that word. Yes, family, the way he was speaking to the civil rights leaders. Oh, my God. Now, y'all know I've got much to say about it. I want to thank you guys so much for joining the live. Mike Michelson, I thank you so much. Facebook put me in jail, y'all. Yes, I posted a Khalid Muhammad post that talk about the bootlicks, and they put me in jail. They shut your girl down. I was losing my mind, not being able to comment or respond for 3 whole days. Y'all know how hard that is with somebody that's born to talk. Y'all know I was born to talk, okay? So I had to speak through Mike Michelson, Sir Tyrek, Alexis Cummings, Joe Hankins, Francine Johnson. I had to let them know when they calling on me to sling bricks in the Facebook, I couldn't. I was in jail without the bail. And I kept counting down the hours. I couldn't believe how long 3 days took before I could be with you guys again. That's why there was no show Sunday. There was no show Tuesday. Because I couldn't talk to my Facebook family. This is where I grew my wings in Facebook. So I had to be able to speak to my family. And Facebook forever bothered me. If y'all don't go to YouTube and subscribe, you will never know what happened, because Facebook is constantly throwing me in jail for telling the TR Ruth family. Yes, they do. They bother me because I'm bringing that smoke. I'm letting all of the lineage, all 85% who voted Biden Harris, I am giving y'all that business. I'm trying my best to do it lovingly. But y'all know I get hotter than fish grease when y'all don't listen to what I'm telling y'all about being replaced by immigrants. I don't know why y'all don't listen to me. I've been studying politics for 6 years. I'm beyond my emotions on this. I'm not going to steer you wrong. We got to shut the government down. We got to let the current government burn down to the ground. And yes, there will be casualties. We just won't be the only ones. Go run, tell that. Make a hashtag out of that. Make that go viral, right? We just won't be the only ones. You get a trifecta of either of these parties, and it's a wrap for the ADOS. You understand what I'm telling you? And don't come telling me about no Biden with a Republican Senate. That's just the excuse he needs to do zero for the ADOS. Of course, because what do I always tell you, family? Having a D in front of your party don't mean you ain't Republican. Okay? This is Strom Thurmond's boy. Straight up and down, no chaser. You understand what I'm telling you? So let's stop falling for the okie doke. I'm going to try to be love on this show because folks be telling me you're just so angry. You know when a black woman raises her voice above an octave, she's just angry. No, I'm doing quite well. Okay? But I am not about this self-individualism. It is not okay with me that 90% of us ain't sitting on over $500,000 plus in assets. There is nothing good about that. I'm about that community collective upliftment over here on the Friends of ADOS. You understand me? It's about all of us. FBA, B1, BLM, because let me tell y'all something. The chapters ain't the federation. Okay? I did a fire show. Then Yvette did a fire show. Y'all better watch it. $10 billion raised. I have not seen any money from BLM to help support the families of the slain that's being weaponized for the come up for white folks to manage the money. Oh, yeah. I have not seen any of that money get to the chapters. I did a whole show about it. I'm not going to repeat it. $10 billion, and we don't know where that money is, and that's the problem. That's the problem. When the Federation ain't in the streets, they're not the ones marching. So I'm here for the BLM chapters, who I know is putting in that work. They're the ones on the front lines with their resources and their bodies. How many of them have been slain by now? Where's the money for that? BLM, Federation, Patrice, where you at? Alicia, where you at with that money to open up investigations for the leaders that are falling all over the country for Breonna in the same way they did Mike Brown? You want to talk about folks hanging from trees, blowing up in cars, set on fire, but they did it to themselves, right? One day they marching to save Black life, the next they hanging themselves and blowing themselves up in vehicles and gunning themselves down. Yeah, suicide. So anywho, Friends of ADOS is just that, a place for us to collectively come together to do this work and to get those reparations in the trillions over multi-generations. And every show I do will be to make the case. And also to make the case for weaponizing your vote and socializing your suffering. What can they do if we give a red top and a blue Congress? I'll repeat the story one more time because, you know, repetition with our people helps them to make the arguments for why we need a red top and a blue Congress. I always refer to Dr. Charles Morris, who, after the blacks won the vote for Teddy Roosevelt dishonorably discharged 167 of our Buffalo soldiers. Oh, yeah, that's what they do. That's what you hear Biden doing. Didn't you hear him do it? Okay, he said that you shot us when our guns were empty. And we're going to return the same each election cycle. We're going to deliver a blue top, because they were Republicans at the time, and a Republican Congress to protect the Black South. Okay? I'm not suggesting something I just made up to walk us off a cliff. I'm telling you that we are at George Floyd 846, okay? And we've been voting blue no matter damn who, not me, since FDR. And now Biden has the unmitigated gall to tell the ADOS civil rights leaders that we better get used to Hispanics, get used to working with them, because white folks are becoming extinct by the POC that they what? Brought to this country. So to suppress whose wages? ADOS wages. To suppress whose jobs? ADOS jobs. Okay? They create the problem and they want to be the solution. Don't that beat all? So he just set his Jim Crow ass up in a meeting on a Zoom and told the civil rights leaders who were graciously asking for things for us. They weren't. I didn't hear not one say reparations after the ADOS movement made it a national debate topic. That's problematic. If they don't understand that we're working with an over $100 trillion egregious racial wealth gap that can only be closed by the trillions they owe us in repair. But guess who else wants repair? The very Hispanics whom Biden said we will now have to answer to. We better get used to it. Why? He understands the numbers. What have we been telling you in every new black media space? White folks are shrinking. Why do you think there's a bounty and has been a bounty on the heads of black men? A bounty to put them in prison. Close to 1 million black men. That ain't black immigrant men. Maybe a couple. But let me help you understand. The black immigrants are worth down here 60,000 liquid to ADOS 200 liquid. And that was back in reports, Color of Wealth, LA. Look it up. From 2004 to 2014. So that's bound to be even greater a divide in terms of how well they're doing. I've shared with you LA, Boston, how Caribbean immigrants back in 2004 to 2014 were $12,000 liquid to what? ADOS $700 liquid. So Biden and Kamala got plans to open up these borders to 22 million more of them. They're already at a combined 70 million. And we're just as instrumental in helping Biden get elected as the ADOS were. Yeah, their numbers increased by 20%, as did our numbers increase by 20%. Okay? So you got Biden telling you that you're going to have to answer to Hispanics whom they partner with for capitalism so that you can eat the cost of slavery. That's what they're trying to do here, family. Put all these immigrants in office to be our new white oppressors. Because that's what's happening. That's what's happening. All these so-called progressives from all these other countries, they're not thinking about you, ADOS. They're not thinking about you. You can tell by Sheila Jackson Lee, who is partnered with Narcan and Cobra to give our repair to all the blacks in this country when we're the ones that are the anchor. Okay? We're the ones that tether America down as the anchor in that boat. And the rest of them, you don't hear them caping for our reparations. You hear them wanting a piece of our reparations, but you don't hear them say, no, 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 no. I don't hear my Caribbean immigrants saying it loud and proud. Oh, no, no, no. I don't want any part of their repair. We've got CARICOM, which they won't be privileged to. Do you hear any of that? I don't think so. Do you hear your African immigrants who descend from slave traders, who come from money? Many of the newer ones do. Okay? Do you hear them fighting for your reparations as they tell you to calm down? You're always angry. Okay? Do you hear them championing your cause as loud as they're telling you to shut up. No. So, lots of folks get blocked these days. And I don't mind you blocking me, because this station is for those who are on the fence, or those who already know and just agree and want to come be my amen corner and teach in the chat. This is what this station is for. It ain't for you Democratic loyalists who can't see your way through to a revolution. Oh yeah, I've been called an elitist social justice advocate. I don't care what you call me. You should be an elitist. If you know that I'm an elitist social justice advocate, where the hell are you on the front lines as you're calling me names for having been blessed? Trust and believe. I have no sponsors but the God. Understand what I'm telling you. I have made it by a wing and a prayer. I don't come from money. But what you should be ashamed of as you're trying to shame me is that you're not in this fight with us. Who do you think is running the movement? The ones without Wi-Fi? The ones without a laptop? Who do you think? It's the elitist of us, the 10% of us that's speaking up and calling these chumps out, including you when I've got to give you that work. So please, I'm not ashamed. I'm grateful, because to whom much is given, much is required. But I've not been, with all of what I possess, I've not been without discrimination in the workplace. Oh yes, I've not been without having to drive Instacart and bring rich white folks their groceries when they laid us off from the job, cut our salaries, have us working from home full time for half of what we earn normally. Oh yeah, and the banks tell me that they'll give me a forbearance, but in the end of all this, whoever knows when it will end, they want a balloon payment. I do what I damn gotta do. There ain't no shame in my game. And that's the problem with many Black folks. Many ADOS, as in the lineage, my movement, they got their minds together. They overstand. We found each other. We a tribe. We roll hard for one another. You understand what I'm telling you? But ADOS, the lineage, I don't understand the benign neglect and the denial that you operate under. That's the problem. We can't be transparent. We can't be honest about our situation and got folks believing we don't even need reparations. Even you, the lineage, believe we don't need reparations. And what you're doing as you comfortably go to the polls to vote, because you've got your pensions, you've got your home mortgages, by now you've reversed them. So you're not leaving any wealth to your children. So when you vote Biden Harris, guess what you do? You crap on your children. So this fight is for my daughter. I got this country to lead to her. And so I can't afford to give in, give up, or give out because I've got it going on. What kind of sense does that make? She's got to be hooked up. And I may have it going on in terms of assets and income and investments. I have zero wealth. Well, the house, I can lead to my daughter. But I mean, in terms of the wealth, I am owed. Each of us are owed about 151 million apiece. So how in the world is it okay not to get your reparations as Biden Harris give a pathway to citizenship for 22 million more? That's 92 million to our 35 million. As we die, allegedly, from COVID in disproportionate numbers, as we die knowingly from government-sanctioned executions, as we die from homelessness, of the homeless families in the nation, over 50% are ADOS. Don't come up in here talking about, no, African immigrants, Caribbean immigrants too. No, When your wealth position is 60K, you don't live in the hood. Cut it out. I'm not trying to have no pissing match over who gets annihilated more or who gets imprisoned more in the new slavery, not so new slavery. This has been going on since we were brought to these shores. Yeah. William Dickens, I saw him in the line. He talked about, this brother younger than me, talking about having sharecrop, talking about having to serve time. And when he got out, the very job he was doing for pennies on the dollar, the state would not give him employment because of his record and told him, you're free to go back to jail to work this job. Ain't that about I'm going to try my best to not curse. Lord knows I'm going to try my best. But it just incenses me that we act as if because we individually got it going on, that we're ashamed of what we come from. We're ashamed to say we're American descendants of chattel slavery, which is exactly what we are. Okay? Let me see if this is my guess. Lord, I can go on and on. Listen here. We are not. Check with others. Are you guys seeing me in YouTube? I think they're seeing me. Y'all, I had to break down and invest in a media engagement specialist. Yeah, because hey, I got to grow the show. I got to reach more people. Now, I think I see y'all in YouTube. Yes, Adrian. Oh, I called your name. Hold on 1 second. Yes, they can see YouTube. Okay, yes, I hired a media engagement specialist because I want to grow. Thank you, my loves, for letting me know you can see me. Welcome to the live. I'm gonna give y'all some love in a minute. Y'all know how I get. I gotta try to stay on my point. But I'm tired of us pretending behind our incomes, if we're fortunate enough to still have them, okay, that we're fine. I am over the self-individualism. That's not how any of this works. We have never made it when we only concern ourselves with our own situation, because guess what? We all got that family member that needs a hand up. Okay, are you in a position to be their reparations? When you have no wealth, you ain't got nothing to cash in, you ain't got no investments, you have no way to help your family. So you may have income, but please, let's not confuse it with wealth. We need all hands resounding on a yes to reparations, and we need to invoke a strategy to make the Democrats feel it when we don't turn out in record numbers to vote them into office. When we deliver a red top and a blue bottom akin to Dr. Charles Morris of Abyssinian Church. Back then it was a blue top and a red bottom. Now I'm asking for a red top and a blue bottom. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So anywho, let me get to, I'm going to meet with you guys because I'm trying my best to stay on time. And Lord, y'all, I cried me a river reading Sean Rochester's The Black Tax. Okay. Y'all get your coffee, get your tea, get your libations because I cried and cried till I had a headache about the history of the black tax. And listen here, by the time I finished highlighting, the whole damn thing was highlighted. So we're going to do it in 2 parts. And so I'm going to kick back, get your slippers. I got my nice little robe on. Get your slippers, get comfy, because I am going in. Y'all know how I do. And I'm going to be reading. So y'all just might as well get used to it. That's the way I roll. I go read to y'all. Just relax. Have your tissue box. Have your tissue box. Because this is a nightmare. And I mean, he only skimmed it. And I was just in knots and just crying my little eyes out. It hurts me. It hurts. I guess I'm an empath, they say. I just feel everything concerning ADOS. Especially now that I've given myself permission to be about the ADOS. I feel all of it. I do. So let's let's just get into it. No more libations for me. I'm done tonight. Okay, well, you just relax. Don't go to sleep, okay? I'm going to give a test at the end. Don't you go to sleep on my show. I have a basketball team of family members that need economic uplift. They are all Mercedes drivers. Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, that how they drive a Mercedes and they need an economic uplift. Okay, so family, let's dig in. Let's start with Biden's puckery. Oh, Lord, today. I don't know where my guest is. I know she was moving yesterday. So if not today, family, you know we'll get her on because we got to push that march. Okay, so I got to let you hear some stuff. And then I'm going to play it. And then I'm going to my church family. Y'all, hi, Angela. I really got to watch my mouth if my church is over here. Ooh, do Jesus. Angela, forgive me in advance. This is a different type of me. This is a different type of me. I love y'all black and strong. This ain't for church, Angela. Okay, just know that if you're over here from my church, I'm gonna let you know. Okay, so let's dig right in. Now, I'm gonna be pausing in between this to share how I feel about these comments he just made. Okay, so just give me a second. I'm gonna cue it up. All right. Oh, well, I didn't mean to do that.
Who called attention to the fact that you were finding that there was the rate of people who are African Americans are dying was 3 times that of white people. I'm carrying around a stamp on my head saying progressive and I'm AOC, but I have a more record getting things done in the United States Congress than anybody you know.
Okay. What has Biden done? What is his record for ADOS that heralds anybody in Congress? Okay. He's the only one that's ever done anything for ADOS. I want you to put it in the chat. Mike Michelson says, church members, we like it when Angela cuss. You are crazy. You make me laugh so much. Thank you, Mike. Okay, put it in the chat. What has Biden done for ADOS more than anyone ever in the history of all the Congresses? Mass incarceration says F you, Ray. Okay, I need to help you understand who this man is. He was the author of the 94 crime bill, which is why we now have close to 1 million black men in prison, more than all the women in prison throughout the world. He was VP to a president who murdered Gaddafi for wanting to break away from the New World Order. Look it up. He was VP to a president who dropped so many bombs he ran out. He was VP to a president who drone striked not just the innocent foreigners, but innocent Americans overseas. He was a VP to a president who started 6 more wars and then got a Nobel Peace Prize. He was VP to a president who bailed out Wall Street. Okay. Bailed out Wall Street while ADOS lost over 43% of their wealth, their homes. Okay. He was a VP to a president who lent us 1% in SBA loans as compared to Bush Jr., 6%. He was a VP to a president who said no to our reparations. He is a VP that has now learned how to talk to the ADOS civil rights leaders. He learned that from the best, Obama. How many times have Obama come up and spoken to us as if we were beneath his shoe, the gum beneath his shoe, like he was our papa? Yeah. How many times did he patronize us in speeches without doing anything about government sanctioned execution? Which leads me to my next point. Just because the face is black don't mean he ain't white. Okay? Because the color of white is green. Obama is white. Kamala is white. Y'all need to understand to look beyond skin tones. Y'all didn't learn that under Obama, as you fell for Callie's top cop. Kamala the chameleon. Okay? She delivered on the crime bill that Bill Clinton signed into law. Okay? I'm just letting you know, he ain't done nothing for the ADOS in the 47 years in office. He ain't met a bill against the ADOS that he didn't like or support. And the reason why he's talking down to the civil rights leaders is because he learned it from the best. No Obama. Moving on.
Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far. Okay? Number one. Number two, I mean what I say when I say it. There's some things that I'm going to be able to do by executive order. I'm not going to hesitate to do it. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do what Benita, you probably used to get angry with me during the debates, when you'd have some of the people in your support say that on day one, I'm going to executive order to do this. Not within the constitutional authority. I am not going to violate the Constitution. There is a Constitution. It's our only hope. Our only hope. And the way to deal with it is where I have executive authority, I will use it to undo every single damn thing this guy's done by executive authority. But I'm not.
Okay. So he's talking about the things he can't do day one. But if you go over to his platform, you can see what he's intending to do for immigrants day one, at least within his first 100 days. When he says he can't do anything day one, he's talking about the ADOS. He's not talking about the white folks in the other groups. Understand that. He's got the executive pen. Of course he could. But that's letting you know, no. We have aligned ourselves with the Hispanics because they help us to oppress you, since we're losing numbers because we created wars and upset and disruption in their countries. Now we have to take them in. We have to bring them in here and oppress the ADOS. Yes, oppress and suppress the ADOS. So they go and create disruption in the world, and now they have to open the borders. But it's bigger than that. It's deeper than that. When they bring them over here, it suppresses the wages to support their profits. Who's profiting off the pandemic? Who? The top 1%, the billionaires, the millionaires. They have trillions that they've given to each other. Trillions and trillions upon trillions. They've been doing this, bailing out the stock market since before the pandemic. So yeah, they can do what they want when they want to do it. Don't sit up here and believe this lie that he can't make an executive order and shut government sanctioned executions down and bring our reparations into fruition. We've already got our repair. I'm bringing Dawn Page on Sunday. She's got an economic plan that she is demanding of Joe Biden through her organization, Concerned Black American Citizens. She'll be on Sunday when we go through the stimulus, okay? So I'm not going to give it all away, but we've already received our apology in 94. It's time to damn come collect. So there's lots of things he could do with that executive pen. He just doesn't have the will because it would benefit ADOS, who are the very people that pushed him over the top in this election. Moving on.
Not going to exercise.
Sorry. You guys put your comments. I'll be reading them. I'll make time for that before we do story time, okay?
Executive authority where it's questioned, where I can come along and say, I can do away with assault weapons. There's no executive authority to do away with that. And
who said do away with assault weapons? We told you. I'm trying, family. Okay. We told you, the leaders are telling you we got to do something about the government sanctioned executions. You all the way off in the tumbleweeds talking about assault weapons. That was not anywhere. They didn't come in there asking you to make an executive order to ban assault weapons. They ask you to ban government-sanctioned executions and qualified immunity. And you can do that with an executive pen and get these states in order. You see how he deflects?
No one's fought harder to get rid of assault weapons than me. Me. But you can't do it by executive order.
Nobody asked you to.
You do that, next guy comes along and says, well, guess what? By executive order, I guess everybody can own machine guns again. So we got to be careful. I know you all know this. I know you know it. I don't think we should make that a big issue going into before January 5th when the election takes place down in
Dementia.
Georgia. But I also...
Kamala had to tell him Georgia. He forgot where the race was happening for the 2 Senate seats that are left. So now we see this was not leaked. You understand? I don't believe this was leaked. I believe it was recorded and pushed out there by design. Now, he's already won the election, so the dog whistle is for the Democrats he's trying to get seated in Atlanta. But I don't trust him as far as I can throw him because, like my mama has always told me, it's not what you say, Angela. It's how you say it. It's how you say it. And he already told us from the campaign trail that nothing will fundamentally change. Then why 85% of our electorate go out here and vote for him? Kamala says she ain't doing nothing specific for black folks. Then why y'all run out here and give them the vote? We just in the habit of gifting folks the vote without amending reparations and a black agenda in exchange for our vote when we're tethered to the bottom in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
I don't think we should get too far ahead of ourselves on dealing with police reform in that because they've already labeled us as being defund the police. Anything we put forward in terms of the organizational structure to change policing, which I promise you will occur. Promise you. Just think to yourself and give me advice whether we should do that before January 5th, because that's how they beat the living hell out of us across the country.
Lies! I tell you, lies! Who beat the living hell out of who? When I think last count, he was at 306 and Trump was at like around 250 electorates. Who? We helped you to win. You've won. Y'all been claiming it all over the television station. You're acting like these 2 candidates in Georgia make or break your election. So which is the lie? Which is a lie? Defund the police and cries to defund the police had nothing to do with beating the living hell out of the Democrats. Let them tell it they won by a landslide.
Saying that we're talking about defunding the police. We're not. We're talking about holding them accountable. I just raise it with you to think about. How much do we push between now and January 5th? We need those 2 seats about police reform. And so this comes from...
Okay, family. So let me play this.
And especially those moments where this campaign was at its lowest ebb. The African American community stood up against it. All this is about, and I'll have yours. And especially those moments where this campaign was at its lowest ebb. The African American community stood up against it. All this is about, and I'll have yours.
So that's pretty much what I wanted to say on that. He talked down to the civil rights leaders, akin to Obama putting them out in the snow when they came to make demands. So my whole problem with all of this is they continue, and this is why it feels disingenuous to me, they continue to make demands after they give the vote. Now, I done told you about Dr. Charles Morris, pastor of Abyssinia Church, who said back in Teddy Roosevelt days, what's that? Around 1920, that this clearly does not work. You shot us when our guns were empty. You can't sit up here and tell me that they don't know what they're doing to continue this pattern of get them in and then make demands. They've been doing this since Teddy Roosevelt. Let me see what y'all got to say about it. I love y'all black and strong, and then we'll get into our reading. What time am I at? Oh my God. What time? Is it really 40 minutes in? I've been talking. Oh Lord. Yes, Mike Michael said, thank you again for being my eyes and ears in the Facebook space and starting the Free Angela campaign when they locked me up in my Khalid Muhammad post. Just pick a reason. They love shutting me down. Third James, welcome to the live. There's my brother William Dickens. Twin City ADOS in the house. Yes. Fort Knox, I see you, fam. Hey, beautiful. See you in it to win it for ADOS, our tribe. Yes, I am, family. Yes, I am. Y'all the wind beneath my wings. I don't know what I'd do without my tribe. Stay strong, stay focused, and keep the line moving forward. That's a quote from William Dickens, y'all. The very one and only. Okay, who else is up in here? My page is on the last strike. Third James, I feel you, family. Welcome to the live. Antoine Foster, ADOS 612 Minneapolis in the building. What up, what up? ADOS children, I hear you too, family. Thank you, my love, for joining the live. Darlene Stewart, some folks don't know anger from passion. You understand, us ADOS women got a ton of passion down to our baby Toast Star. Thank you. Third James, that's why the hashtag and organization needs to move around. I don't know which one you're referencing. Black Lives Matter, ADOS. I'm not sure, but I'm building a Friends of ADOS community where all of us can come together and get this work done. I'm super excited about it. I want to work with everybody. Yes, that's just how I am, a very kumbaya kind of lady. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you, Mike Michelson. Yes, please like, share, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Antoine Foster, Myron Burrell just had his life sentence commuted in Minnesota. He's a free man. That is what is up, family. Oh my gosh, that's such great news, especially given that Trump is on a killing spree. I think 5 of us is being executed. Oh, I can't. I'm gonna try to stay composed. P. Burley, to calm down in the country we built. Ain't that something, P. Burley? Thank you for joining the live. Yeah, they want me to calm down in the country that was built with my ancestors' lives before it was even a country. We've been here since around the 14th century, slaving this land. Spaniards owned us first. Look it up. And now I'm supposed to calm down, and we on the bottom fighting for our lives. I mean, we are just surrounded by the inferno. You're right, P. Burley. What up, BT? Thank you for joining the live. Debonair One, I love you, Black and Strong. ADOS American Descendants of Slavery in the building. Facts, Angela. Debonair, that's right, Angela. BT, in the midst of this chaos, they expect us to survive, knowing we've been neglected as a collective lineage. Okay. I can't roll my R's. Okay. Since I'm going to have to answer to Cardi B, okay. I better learn how to roll them R's. I'm going to bow down to the strippers. Okay. That's who Joe Biden met with. I guess that was a hit and a half on our, okay. I guess that's what it was. He showed up, sat down with Cardi B. So I guess that's who we're going to have to answer to. The stripper turned rapper. Okay, that's what we're doing in this country. That's not how any of this is going to work. ADOS is in that ear like a hot damn steady drum beat. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Do you understand what I'm telling you? Okay, we will not give in. We will not give up. We will not give out. We are going to be in your dreams like a steady drum beat. You understand what I'm telling you? Yeah. So they want us to just neglect the fact that we being neglected. Wrong, boo-boos. I can't say boo-boos without thinking of Arthur Ward. I borrowed that from him. Hi, Arthur. Love you. Okay. Facts. ADOS has zero wealth. You're right, BT. As we die off, they are pushing for liability protections for corporate, and they don't want to be held accountable. Anything about a blip. Same thing with that damn vaccine they pushing on our family. Now, when? I just need y'all to put your thinking caps on. Put your thinking caps on. I know, and my heart bleeds for those of you who are losing family members. Listen here. My heart bleeds. Let me just be serious on that piece, okay? But I'm here to tell you, people are lying to you when they say 30 million have died in this country. That's not true. Look up the BBC tracker. Don't trust nothing coming from the corporate news network, okay, with 3 Ks. Don't trust nothing coming with 3 Ks in it. You hear me? Because somebody is lying that there's 30 million dead in the country. The BBC tracker just a few days ago said 1.6 million dead. And of the millions that have contracted it, apparently they're on the road to recovery. They've not died yet. And who in the world knows anyway what folks are really dying from? Who knows the underlying issues? Hospitals were paid $38,000 a bed. I'm not going to touch this long. I'm just saying, let me pose this question, because my specialist told me to stay away from this topic, so I'm not going to stay here. I just want you to put your thinking cap on and reflect on a moment in history that white folks gave a damn about ADOS. Put it in the chat. When have they given a damn about ADOS in the way they seem to care now that we're dying allegedly disproportionate from COVID and have to be the first in line to take a 9-month-old vaccine that hasn't been means tested? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. I'll read it. So let that be your conscience and your God. I'm not taking it, neither is my child. Okay? Let's see here. Say Kusi say. What's up, fam? Willie Hampton, thank you for joining the live. Give us a okay. Debonair 1 says Biden chastised the NAACP. He said go by the Constitution, but DACA should be decided by the people. Ain't that nothing? The same way NAACP was on the steps for DACA the day before the ADOS was on the step for our 1866 civil right to sue for discrimination. And when inquired of the NAACP why they weren't on the steps the next day with us, they asked us why weren't we on the steps for DACA. Ain't that about a blip? Ooh-wee. Give us that fish grease, sis. Mike, you make me laugh so much. I just love him for the laugh. BT, ADOS is in a bad economic position. You better know it, fam. We want you to go in, Angela. Yes, thank you, family. Y'all know I aim to please. Okay. I have okay, Angela. Get some tea or hot cocoa, family. Don't forget to smash that like button. I thank y'all for pushing for me. Thank you so much. Yes, I need to grow the platform. I got my specialist who's helping me do just that. Because they all, ADOS children say, because they all fronting money, but broke as hell. Okay? That's the truth about the niggerati. Okay? Our people love to front and floss as if they got it going on. But have we seen any of their bank accounts? And I'm not talking about income. I'm talking about wealth, family. There's a huge difference. Okay? Huge difference. Gargantuan. And truth be told, white folks don't even know it. They lose an edge. These Asian Hispanics out here are, what I always quote about their liquidity? I want to say $425,000 liquid. White folks ain't that liquid, but Asian Indians, Kamala's people, are that liquid. So white folks lose an edge in this country too. They don't know it, and it ain't my monkey, it ain't my circus. You said we take a drink when she does. Mike Michelson. Oh, you make me laugh. Okay. He put us in jail. That's right. Strom Thurmond's boy. Yeah. Talking to the civil rights leaders like the massa he truly is. That Strom Thurmond spirit came through that discussion. Oh, yeah. He set the stage to not do a darn thing for the next 4 years for the ADOS. And I pray y'all don't deliver them come 2024. We really need a Democratic Congress, but not with a Democratic top. Nothing still will get done because we really have a Republican in chief. We still do. Biden is always about how much more tougher he can be on ADOS than the Republicans. And I have yet to see anyone tell me what Trump has done more heinous than Biden's record against the ADOS. I don't get how y'all don't do the math and think it's okay to replace a racist in office for 4 years with a racist in office a combined 65 years between him and Kamala. And yes, Kamala's racist. She comes from East Indian Brahmin caste, and her record against ADOS here in California is atrocious. Look it up. I've done shows. Find the archives. I can't get into that. I'm almost to an hour, and I haven't even started reading. Okay. Effie Ray Thompson, thank you for joining the live, my love. He gonna not within the constitutional authority us his whole term. You best to know it. So learn your constitution because he will be weaponizing it against the ADOS to do absolutely nothing for you. Third James, you give people more credit for being ignorant than I do. I believe they're sellout agents if they haven't figured Biden out by now. Well, that too. That too. They looked all forlorn as they were being scolded like his lackey boys and girls. Was ADOS ever demanding he violate the Constitution? What a condescending insult. You know it, P. Burley? No, they were asking him to use his executive power to protect Black life in this damnable country. They weren't asking for him to get rid of assault weapons. He likes to deflect. I don't know why. He know he got dementia and runs off into the tumbleweeds. Third James says you also have the too prideful to be humble idiots who insist on standing by that dumb vote for Biden. Ain't that deep? Ain't that deep that they excuse the way he spoke to the civil rights leaders? They got excuse upon excuse upon excuse, mostly couched in it's a dog whistle, it's strategy. All I know is this is why I can't run for office. I'd have cost his ass from Genesis to Revelation. Oh, they'd have to carry me up out of there. This is why. I know my limits. I do. It's best to know your limits because I can be me here. I can express my anguish with all of the puckery over here in a way that I can't do no place else. Because I got people that understand me, can relate, and support me in what I'm sharing as I educate the masses to bring more folks over to the reparations fight and the weaponize our vote, socialize our suffering fight. That's my square until they what? Cut the checks in the trillions over multi-generations. Anyone who supports anti-gun legislation is racist. ADOS should be pro-Second Amendment. Never support any form of gun control. Oh, Antoine Foster, I don't really support gun control, but there's a different set of rules when Blacks have guns versus when whites have guns. Hello, rest in power, Philando Castile. Hello, Jay, what's his name? Master J. In fact, you understand what I'm telling you? So, listen here. Something's got to give. These white boys can murder us. I mean, that Cal Rittenhour, whatever the hell his name is, shot up a couple of Black Lives Matter protesters. I don't care what color they were marching for Black life. He murdered 2 and injured a 3rd. His people raised 2 million. He's out, walking free and clear. Master J, on the other hand, last time I checked, couldn't even break 100,000. Y'all can take a sip. Take another one. Yeah, he couldn't even break 100,000 last time I checked. Kyle is out. 2 million. He got bail after murdering 2 Black Lives Matter protesters and injuring a third. So you see, it's different. We can have the Second Amendment, but what that means for ADOS? You can still get executed by not just the race soldiers, but by the citizens. And if you got money, you can bail out like Kyle did. Mike Michelson says he's trying to conflate things and rouse up the white folks with all them signals. Yeah, he's trying to win the Congress. And that's what Black folks do. They excuse that behavior under the auspice that he needs white votes for those 2 Democratic candidates down there who, oh, by the way, don't have nothing on their agenda for you. I've already told you guys, I bought Robbie Caban and Tamara Johnson Shealy on a show about Warnock. He don't even mention Black in his whole platform. Go look it up. So what difference does it make if the Republicans win or the Democrats win? We get nothing. ADOS ain't getting a thing. Not from AOC, not from Ilhan, not from Talib, not from Ayanna, not from Jamal, not from Corey, all the progressives. That show's coming on Friday. Just because they weaponize Black Lives Matter on the campaign trail don't mean they won't pivot to climate change when they get elected, Cori Bush. I don't hear none of them caping for our reparations. We're going to get into it Friday. That's a whole nother show. I got to work on that show and bring you all the facts. As folks want to sit up here and tell me that we've really come up because of all the people Biden has put into his cabinet that are Black. We're going to drill it down to ADOS versus Black immigrant. And we're going to show you how it's a nothing burger for the ADOS. It's coming. And he bigs up the Latinos. Well, they helped him get elected too. I mean, we were neck and neck on that. For real, for real. You better not give up your gun rights. Yeah, I don't say give up your gun rights. Never, ever support it. Listen, like I said, it don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing, darling. It don't mean it. It don't. Just because you got gun rights don't mean you got the right to carry. Not when you're ADOS. They just murdered a young, beautiful man. They just murdered him as he was entering his house to bring his family Subway dinner. Forgive me, I can't recall his name because, I mean, they just been murdering us with impunity since George Floyd 846 and before, and the beat goes on. And yet, I saw another video in the same state, I do believe, where a white man had a gun on his seat, and the cops, the race soldiers, pulled him over and told him to get out the car. He told them to kiss his acrobat or his soda cracker and drove off. So you can have a Subway sandwich in your hand and all the police got to do is execute you and say we thought it was a gun. I'm just saying the rules are very different. You can tell the race soldiers, that was an Asian man that murdered Philando, that, oh, I've got a gun in the glove box, be told to reach for it, and then be murdered. So I'm not saying do away with the Second Amendment. I'm just saying the laws and the rules ain't the same. And you got to be aware of that. It's not the same. Okay. That's your guess. He just, WC, welcome to the live, my love. ADOS Truth. I see you, fam. He says, WC says, he just admitted that he cheated in the election. When? Run me that tape. When did he admit that? Did I miss something? And the BT says, and the civil rights leaders accepted him talking down to them. They should have checked Biden immediately. That disrupts they butter biscuits, baby. They're not gonna come up against that. The time to show the DNC is before you give them the seat. You don't give the seat to people who told you they ain't doing nothing for your group, whose ancestors built all the wealth from the table they eat from. We are the legs. So what you gonna say? They've only been doing this since Teddy. Okay. At 400 years, org, I see you, family. Welcome to the live. Shanna Kim, ADOS Bay Area. Thank you so much. Good night, my love, BT. Love you, Black and Strong. ML Williams, I see you, family. Thank you for joining the live. Third James, I'm just thinking that BLM is usurped by All Lives Matter. We should probably get out. I'm just saying. Listen here. You've got BLM who's going to be a part of the March for Reparations. You've got chapters like the ADOS chapters who are full-chested about reparations. They understand how much we need it. I'm not throwing away any of my brothers and sisters. We need them all. Now, I'm not fooling with the Federation. That was a huge grift, 10 billion, and we can't account for it. No, they've got to go. But if a BLM member wants to fight for reparations, they are welcome into the Friends of ADOS community. They got a place here. Answer your phone, girl. Who's Tell Me? Tell me. I don't know who that is. Answer my phone. Tell me. I don't even know you. You got my number? Oh, Lord. Who's got my number? I didn't get my number out. Absolutely nobody. You are everything to me, love. Thank you for joining the live. You still trying to score that bud, but we talked about, or what? That must be somebody trolling me. I don't smoke weed, family. I know sometimes y'all might think I'm high or drunk because I go off the rails. But stop this trolling nonsense. Whoever tell me is, you need to cut it out. Ain't nobody trying to reach out to you or have you call me for a bud run, okay? Get off my feet. I'm trying to teach. Hey, Ange, JBO, that's my love. She came on and did that coronavirus show with me. Check it out in the archives. My specialist is watching. He wants me to stay away from those topics. I'm behaving. Okay. Friends of ADOS TV, please. Ooh. Is that my specialist? Oh, Lord. Okay. Third James. Well, how many bank account work? Rachel Mawinda. Mawindawa. Hello, ally, watching from Kenya. I love you, Kenya. And I love my African immigrants. Don't you dare let nobody tell you we're xenophobic. We've got to put up the gate, girl. They over here trying to flatten blackness. And y'all doing all right over here. I ain't saying all, but most. So I love my African allies. I love my Caribbean allies. Y'all know I got to protect the ADOS. We the majority black here, and we are dying on purpose by design of institutional systemic racism. Welcome, Kenya. Much love to you. Thank you. Spread the word to other allies. We need all of them. Jamie says they owe Cube an apology. They absolutely owe Cube an apology, as does ADOS, the lineage. Just dragged our brother for filth when he was responsible for getting Gavin Newsom to sign off on AB 3121 to get the reparations done for the state of California. Y'all, they are way wrong for that, Jamie. Absolutely nobody. That's dope. And Rachel Mawindawal. Yes, greetings, Kenya, y'all. We worldwide. Kenya's in the house. Yes, we love you, black and strong, Rachel. Your allies are so welcome here. White, blue, black, green. I don't really care. I'm just proud to have you as an ally. You're welcome to the Friends of ADOS. Grandmaster J. Yeah, Jam Master J. Cut the check, says Jamie. Okay, she's switching to YouTube. Remember, sign up at YouTube. When they throw me in Facebook jail, it shuts my show down. They won't let me do a show. They won't let me post. They really screwed me up for 3 whole days. I missed y'all. Yes, like, share, comment. Thank you, my specialist. Thank you, Grandmaster J. You just played the tape. He said they kicked our ass in every state. He's a liar. They won. Oh, Astrid, my love, one of my top donors. While I'm on it, I thank you guys so much for donating to support the show. I really need your help. If you can, all dollars aggregate to help me pay for my specialist, to help me pay for the platform. Y'all know I got to bring it like I do. And Astrid was one of my biggest donors. And I thank all of you who have donated, okay? I don't have a list, but you are so appreciated. I got a Cash App now. $ FOADOS TV, FOADOS TV. So if you want to hit me up, everything goes to support the show and to keep me with the lights on. So thank you. I'm doing my best to make a full-time job of fighting for reparations for ADOS. And my platform is just one of the ways I get to do that. It's very challenging to fight for reparations when I have to work a full-time job for half my salary and raise my daughter. So I thank you guys so much for the love. I appreciate you. Well-behaved women very rarely make history. Cheers, Astrid. You are right about that, my love. Big up to all the allies. Thank you, specialist. He's in there working from the Friends of ADOS TV. And that's what we've got to do, too. He knows I want to be able to send an automatic thank you to all the donors because Lord knows you mean the world to me. Absolutely. Everyone who jumped on Cube needs to kiss his feet. You better know it. Oh, Astrid, thank you for the love. You said you'll send tonight. I appreciate you, my love. For everything. I do. I love you so much. Black and strong. Yes, I'm trying to make a full-time living family. Can y'all imagine my voice all over the world? All over the world. I'm trying to be everywhere, getting allies together to fight for reparations so we can finally get it in this country. So any donations, no donation is too small. Just know that. Absolutely nobody. Okay. Facts at WC. Jamal Woods, welcome to the live. Veritas 1220, seek God in all things. What? Why, family? Because you are the face of God, the voice of God, the body temple of the spirit of the living God. Don't you ever forget it. That God that animates your body takes care of you. Don't you ever forget to appeal to that. That is what has sustained me. And that's why I have much amongst the little. Okay? And he expects me. God didn't bless me with a tiny bit of wealth position to not help others. Okay? God doesn't work. The God in me don't work like that. The God in me says, to whom much is given, much is required. And that's why I use my voice to fight hard for the ADOS. Yes, I do. And I'm trying to make a full-time living. I am trying to get on the speaker circuit. I'm trying to get on the corporate news network with the 3Ks and tell them the truth about American descendants of chattel slavery and what we are owed. Yes, I'm trying to be in spaces. I love y'all, but I can't get y'all to check unless I'm out here speaking to everybody. So here we go. All right, family. So I'm done with the comments for now. It's time to read. It's time to read. Oh, my God. Y'all might need a little spot of alcohol. I know I need me a nice creamy ice cream brandy Alexander would be really wonderful right now. But I don't want to slur my words, so I'm going to keep it on the counter, on the bar. I'm not going to tip and dip. Can you get on PBS, baby? I need to be everywhere. You remember when I was on Fox Soul? That was fire. I was so comfortable. I wasn't even loud. I was demure, but I threw down them facts because I know how to play to my audience. Me and Astrid, tell them, Astrid, we were performing many moons ago, theater, television, and film. She's a beauty. She's got 4 children and a husband, so y'all can't come for Astrid. But I'm here to tell you, I know how to play to the audience. I give y'all the black hair side. I give y'all the west side of Dayton, Ohio. That's where I'm from. Okay. So, and I said, Hollywood. Yes, that was a Freudian slip because I do refer to Hollywood as Hollywood. Okay. And that came out on the show. Mike Michelson If nobody remembers a word I say, you are always on it. See, Astrid tells y'all, yes, ma'am, you were so wonderful, my best roommate. And she was one of my best sister friends. Oh, I just love me some her. And to this day, she supports me. And listen, I don't want to cry because I did put on a little powder to be cute for y'all. I'm not going to cry, but I love me some Astrid. She does so much for me. And she supports the show, as do all of you. I love y'all black and strong. You support the show by simply showing up, and I thank you. So let's get into part 2. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I'm just going to have to read. What time are we at? Okay, I'm going to read a little, and then I'll come back on Sunday and read a little more. I'll come back till we get through it. Because there's just no way to, like, the whole thing is highlighted. I don't know how to do that. And so I've got some notes in here. So this is the historical black tax. Okay, let me remind you, the first part on the last show, a week ago Sunday, not the Sunday past, I was in FB jail. We talked about the current black tax. What the hell? Honey, I don't know what they're doing outside. They better calm down. Okay, and today we're in part 2, historical black tax. Now, this section is from page 43 to page 82. So I'm not going to give y'all ear fatigue. I'm going to read as much as I can and comment in between, okay? And I'm going to try to get us out of here. Where we at? I'm going to try to read about 15 minutes, okay? And then we'll come back and pick up where we left off. This show is combined of ADOS Hot Topics, guests when they show up. Tara must be in the middle of something big to not have made it to the show. We'll bring her on another time, family. We got a little time ahead of us. But you know, it's ADOS life. Okay, so when they can make it, I'm happy to have them. If not, I lovingly forgive them and they come back. So this is both ADOS Hot Topics. I pick something really hot that's on my mind and I talk about it for the first segment, and then I read for the second and give notes in between. For my book read, Miseducation of ADOS in America with 3Ks book club series. And this is a part of that. So let's get into the historical black tax, okay? How did we get here? Okay, in part 1, we examine the large and pervasive tax that Black Americans face due to the implicit and explicit anti-Black bias of their fellow citizens. This tax exists in almost every market where people are required to make decisions that affect the price of various goods and services that are consumed by Black Americans. Research shows that it is quite prevalent in the housing market, the automotive market, online consumer market, the labor market, and the business financing marketplace. This begs the following questions. Where did this tax come from? How has it always been with us? How is it possible that after 400 years and so much progress, that over 40 million African Americans only own 2% of American wealth? It's really less than that, it's 1%. In part 2, which we're currently on, we'll take a closer look at how we got here, but we must first define what we mean by here. Let me take a breath. I need to tell you the Fair Use Act disclaimer that I'm using and reading from this book for educational purposes. I probably botched that up, but whatever. I don't want them shutting my video down because I didn't tell you the Fair Use Disclaimer Act. This is for educational purposes. Defined as Black America's current state of affairs here. Could be characterized in a number of different ways: education, health, business, criminal justice, and politics. But for our purposes, we will look at the economic factors that impact Black Americans' ability to leave a substantial financial legacy for future generations. Why is this important, family? Because at this show, I am forever making the case for reparations and why we should weaponize our vote and socialize our suffering delivering a red top in a blue Congress until they cut the checks in the trillions over multi-generations. I see you, Veritas 1220. I see you, Trey X. Welcome to the live, my loves. So let's dig in. A few frightening facts to consider. White households are far wealthier than black households on every level. Hey, the mean white host has 8 times more net worth than the average black household. The average wealth of the top 5% of white American households is 7 times more than the average of the top 5% of black households. So even the one that's in that share that 3.2, we have a 2.3 trillion. The top 10% of ADOS, not even ADOS. We've got 3 trillion that we share between us. 2.3 trillion are shared by the top 10%, which is generally comprised of black immigrants, because that's what they comprise in this country, probably more like 12 to 14% by now. And 90% of us, which are predominantly ADOS, 86 to 90% of us share less than 700 billion since COVID. What this is telling you is whites have 8 times more net worth than your average black household. And the wealth at the top 5% of white American household is 7 times more than the average of the top 5% of black households. So what's 5 times 2.3? Let's get the calculator. Do a little math. We know it's over 10. Okay. 10 times 2.3. So the top 5% at 5 times more wealth than the top 5% of blacks, not ADOS, is 23 trillion. Wait, I'm sorry. Wrong. Divided by 2. Let's do this again. 2.3 times 5. 11.5 trillion. Top 5%. To blacks, not ADOS, 2.3 trillion. The average white household has 8 times more net worth than the average black household. Let's do 8 times 700 billion with a B. That's 5.65 trillion, 600 billion is what the average white household shares as compared to ADOS, less than 700 billion. Moving on. The average wealth of the top 1% of white American households is 6 times more than the average wealth of the top 1% of black households. White Americans are significantly more likely to receive an inheritance. And when they do, those inheritances are vastly larger and more likely to increase their wealth profile. The children of baby boomers are about to receive $30 trillion of inheritance over the next several years. Now, this is Biden, who was the VP to Obama, who produced 1 million white millionaires during his tenure, while ADOS lost 43% of our wealth. That's the Biden who claims he's done more for us in his 47 years in office than anybody ever in Congress. Yeah, he did more to set us back. Hey, whites are 5 times more likely to get an inheritance than African Americans, and our ancestors built all the wealth of the table they eat from. The average white inheritance is 10 times larger than the average African American inheritance. 91% of the average white inheritance goes to increase wealth versus just 20% for African Americans. White households have far more business equity than Black households. A, wealthy white Americans are 4 times more likely to have business equity than wealthy African Americans. B, business equity of wealthy white Americans is 7 times larger than wealthy African Americans, 468,000 versus 65,000. And white households have a far higher portion of high income earners and far lower portions of households in poverty. As this country wants you to be more concerned about class-based policies which don't fix race. White households have a far higher portion of high-income earners and far lower portion of households in poverty. So when they're telling you about erasing student loan debt, that's perfect for me and the 16 to 20% of us that are educated, but what about the other 80 to 84% of ADOS? You're basically talking about a white wealth transfer is what you're doing when you talk about class-based policies. This is what the progressives are on. They want this country to take the trillions that are due us and spread it around and only lift up a few of us, only erase the debt of a few of us. When white high school dropouts are more gainfully employable than college degree ADOS. Making the case for reparations over here at the Friends of ADOS TV channel. White Americans are overrepresented in almost all high-income occupations and underrepresented in almost all low-income occupations. Black Americans are chronically overrepresented in low-income occupations and significantly underrepresented in almost all high-income occupations, which is why they can discriminate against us. We have no social capital. And when we do, they're doing the masters, the oppressors' bidding when it comes to whether or not they hire ADOS. That's why you can have ADOS with master degrees down here. We're 44% of the degree and only 6% of the private sector. That's ADOS life. You can find people with master degrees driving Uber. I myself, in the beginning, before they figured out the SBA loans and all this kind of stuff, I went and did Instacart. I didn't know where the money was going to come from, as my mortgage company was telling me I need a balloon payment for a pandemic that ain't plandemic that hasn't ended yet. So that's our monkey in our circus. To better understand how African Americans could own such a small portion of American wealth after being in America for hundreds of years, we have to go back to the period of chattel slavery and examine the economic consequences of the anti-Black discriminatory forces that have hindered Black economic development from emancipation to the present day. And Biden, in the tape I played you, wants to pretend like he's got $15 billion to help the African-American entrepreneur. Really, $15 billion. Not federal jobs guarantee, not reparations, not affirmative action exclusively for American descendants of slavery so that they can get jobs that pay not $15 an hour, but jobs that can make them American, where they can afford a house for $300,000 to $500,000. None of that. And oh, by the way, that wasn't on his platform. Did you see $15 billion to be given to ADOS exclusively to close the egregious racial economic wealth gap? I've already done a show on that. Look in the archives. No is the answer. We'll look at what researchers say about the economic cost that enslaved people newly freed people and descendants of enslaved people bore during those times. Those costs, to the extent that they existed, would clearly be a tax on Black people, and we will use data. The ADOS movement is on that data. Yvette taught us to be about that data. Love her for it. We will use data from various researchers, books, articles, and government statistics to attempt to understand the size, the scope, and the far-reaching ramifications of this Black tax. So, Black tax from 1619 to 1890, from slavery to emancipation. So, I'm going to read a few more pages. I know it is what it is. Okay, specialists, I hear you in my head, not to do more than 75 minutes. I'll try to perfect it next show. Right now, I've got to read a couple of little sections from this. The first 20 or so African captives arrived in Jamestown, Virginia in 1619. They were originally transported by slave ships from what is modern-day Angola to Jamestown and forced into slavery. This marked the beginning of slavery as a practice and institution in colonial America. The slave population in 1619 grew from approximately 20 people to a population of 700,000 slaves by the time of the first U.S. Census in 1790 to 2 million in 1830, and then to approximately 4 million by 1860. Now, I want to back you up because in 1808, America banned the import of slaves from Africa and the West Indies. Okay? So they were importing slaves from the West Indies family. They may be due reparations. They may be due if they were imported here and did slavery here. That was new information when I looked it up. Because it cut into their profits. William Spivey, 321.19, the Use Journal. That's where I got this information. So they only banned it in 1808 because it cut into their profits. And what they took up doing to grow to 4 million by 1860 from 1808 was the biggest hell ever known to slavery in the globe. They started breeding farms. They raped the women, and they made them lay with men who were not their husbands to increase the population from 700,000 to 4 million. During that time, America grew from a series of small colonies to a massive independent country that produced the most valuable commodity in the world, raw cotton. Fueled by abundant credit, limitless, cheap, fertile land, and an ever-increasing supply of enslaved, free labor, America became extraordinarily wealthy and powerful, and accumulated enough capital to become the greatest beneficiary of the industrial age. The largest appropriation of land that the world has ever seen, combined with the almost complete extinction of tens of millions of indigenous people, augmented by the most brutal and restrictive form of slavery that has ever existed, set the foundation for the greatest accumulation of wealth in the history of the world. To get a sense of the value of slaves to the American economy, consider that in 1860, the value of America's 4 million slaves accounted for 16 and 27% to 20% and 28 tenths of all U.S. wealth, or 1 to 2 years of national income. The total U.S. wealth in 2016 was about 85 trillion. The value of slaves as a function of U.S. wealth in 2016 would be the equivalent of 14 trillion to 17 trillion, or about 15.5 trillion. The U.S. national income in 2016 was 19 trillion. The value of slaves as a function of U.S. national income in 2016 would be the equivalent of 19 to 38 trillion, or about 28.5 trillion. The average of these estimates is 22 trillion, which represents the equivalent present value of the future net earnings that those slaves would provide to their masters in 2016. This is why 17 trillion is too little. If it was 22 trillion valued at the slavery alone, we're not calculating or adding in the Jim Crow and the accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Hello, military-industrial complex. Hello, the private prison industrial complex. Hello, redlining us into environmentally hazardous wastelands. Hello, miseducation. Hello, joblessness. Hello, homelessness. Hello, lack of health care. Hello, dying disproportionately from COVID. Hello, dying disproportionately from government-sanctioned executions. We've not even calculated that. If we calculated all of that to present day, this government would be in the red. That's how much they owe. Today, the combined net worth of the more than 40 million African Americans is currently 1.4 trillion. When in 2016, he just said the value of our ancestors' heinous chattel slave labor was worth 22 trillion. We, as African Americans, are at around 1.5 trillion when this book was done. And as I mentioned, 90% of us share less than 700 billion. What's up, Robin the Girl Wonder? I see you, my love. Thank you for joining the live. Yeah. This means that 4 million slaves in 1860 had an equivalent economic value that is 15 times more than the net worth of 40 plus million Black Americans 152 years later. This means that 4 million slaves in 1860 had an equivalent economic value that is about 15 times more than the net worth of 40 plus million Black Americans 152 years later. We share less than 700 billion, 90% of us. And we don't have a resounding 40 million supporting us for reparations and weaponizing the vote and socializing the suffering. Joseph Jenkins, welcome to live, my love. We got folks acting like the ADOS movement is asking for a handout. Thank you, my love. Nicole, welcome to the live, baby. Oh, my God. And folks want to know why I'm hotter than fish grease. I'm wondering why everybody ain't hotter than fish grease. Moving on. Since slavery, by definition, is a 100% tax on all labor produced by a slave, it is imperative that we understand the size of the tax imposed on enslaved people in terms of their uncompensated labor prior to emancipation. Some researchers have estimated that the value of the labor extracted from enslaved Africans was up to 24 trillion and others up to 97 trillion. Taking an average of these estimates yields a conservative valuation of up to $50 trillion, which is the effective size of tax imposed on Black people between 1619 and 1860. 50 trillion. We're being lowballed to be working with a $17 trillion number. Not in the Friends of ADOS community. I am a negotiator by trade. You can't come in with 17 trillion and expect to get it. You better go high. You better go high and meet somewhere in the middle. If it's worth 50 trillion, why are we only asking for $17 trillion? Why? Because they don't want to really deal with what happened prior to this country forming in 1776. Well, it is old. So I got my own numbers under the Friends of ADOS community. It is old. I'm gonna get a handle on the number I'm comfortable with presenting based on what I learned in this book. Ain't no 17 trillion. It's more like 100. We can meet in the middle, maybe around 50. We can't just forget about 1619 to 1777 and 6. That ain't how any of this is going to work under the Friends of ADOS community. It's not. This is what I'm relying on. 17 trillion. And he's saying this is from 1619 to 1860, it's at 50 trillion. What is it from 1860 to 2000? What are we at? 20. Soon to be 2021. We will take a payment plan. You will be paying this over multiple generations because you owe it. It's not a handout. It ain't welfare. It ain't charity. It is a debt. That it's owed for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. We ain't lowballing these numbers to make these Mickey Vickies comfortable for what our ancestors had to endure. Respectability politics don't happen on this show. I don't give a damn who it offends. That's my daughter's wealth. These estimates do not include any cost associated with the unimaginable pain and suffering, murder, rape, torture, separation of families, denied entrepreneurial enterprise, denial of education, theft of inventions and intellectual property, denial of freedom, and the right to pursue happiness that accompanied the daily life of a slave over the course of 17 generations. And you got Kamala within a stone's throw of the highest office in the goddamn land, one generation in this bitch. And y'all want me to calm down. I want you to come up. By the way, $1 trillion is 1,000 billion. So we are talking about a considerable, almost incalculable sum of money extracted from enslaved Africans that created extraordinary wealth for this country and for white America that was never recouped by African Americans, by the ALOS. I'm going to read this last section, then I got to go, y'all. I am just getting mad all over again. I don't mean to be screaming at you, but I am incensed by the ADOS, the lineage, the stuff I've had to fight. My tribe has had to fight on my behalf to try to make it plain that we are in George Floyd 846. We're in 2020, y'all. When we gonna do something different with the only weapon we've got? Our vote is our only commodity. We are wealthless by design of institutional systemic racism. When are y'all gonna wake up? Not my tribe, the lineage. Black tax following emancipation. 40 acres and a mule, the Homestead Act. After emancipation, there was some talk about giving recently freed slaves 40 acres of land and a mule. The concept of 40 acres goes back to Special Field Order number 15, which was issued on January 16, 1865 by General William T. Sherman. If this concept of 40 acres had been extended to all newly freed slaves, it would have led to the redistribution of 160 million acres of land to newly freed Black people. At a Republican convention in Pennsylvania, Thaddeus Stevens, a staunch abolitionist, called for the taking of 400 million acres from former slave holders to provide some compensation and assets to those once enslaved. This land would have allowed former slaves to be able to produce enough goods and services to provide for their basic needs with any surplus. Hold on, family. Hello? Hello? My Christmas stuff is coming through here, y'all. Bear with me. This land would have allowed former slaves to be able to produce enough goods and services to provide for their basic needs with any surplus allowing for the accumulation of wealth. It would have also provided the former slaves with a modest ability to begin to recover from 17 generations of involuntary and uncompensated servitude. The mule would have provided a means of transportation and the ability to multiply the manual labor of the newly freed people. It is important to note that by 1860, 80% of the 125,000 craftsmen in the South were slaves. Therefore, if the newly freed people had been given land, capital, and access to markets, they would have been able to build homes, towns, schools, hospitals, and institutions, but they were not. Providing 400 million acres to these newly freed people as compensation for unimaginably brutal treatment over 250 years never gained traction, and the hope of 40 acres and a mule also never came to fruition. In 1865, Andrew Johnson, President Abraham Lincoln's successor and a supporter of the Southern white supremacist establishment, overturned Special Field Order number 15, returned confiscated land to the Southern states and landowners who had committed treason against the United States of America with 3 Ks. by their staunch support of secession from and the waging of war against the United States. Given the repugnant historical treatment of Black people in America since 1619, this outcome is not surprising. But what is very interesting is that in 1862, the U.S. Congress passed the Homestead Act, which would distribute 246 million acres over the next 60 years to 1.5 million white families. The Homestead Act allowed white families to receive up to 160 acres for free if they agreed to work the land and live on it for 5 years. To put this into perspective, the average cost of an acre in 2015 was $3,020, with premium land going for $6,350, which means that 246 million acres will be worth between 740 billion and 1.6 trillion at 2015 land prices, which is the equivalent of giving 500,000 to 1 million per white family. This massive and unprecedented government giveaway helped draw 24 million white immigrants from overpopulated countries in Europe to America, which was seen as a land of enormous opportunity. Of the 1.5 million families that received homestead land, 99.73% went to white families. Researchers estimate that up to 93 million Americans today, a third of our population in this country, are direct beneficiaries of this enormous wealth generating program. Thus, while newly freed people, us, American descendants of chattel slavery, were denied a modest means to produce resources for themselves, after $50 trillion worth of free chattel slave labor had been extracted from themselves and their forebears, millions of white families, some citizens, many who were not, were given extraordinary opportunities to own valuable land at virtually no cost. The irony is that during the first 8 years after the Homestead Act was passed, over 1 million former slaves got sick or died from exposure and disease, which Jim Downs, associate professor of history at Connecticut College, describes as the largest biological crisis of the 19th century. Exposure and disease were the natural outgrowths of insufficient food, clothing, and shelter as a result of former slaves not having land or means to produce resources to sustain themselves. The situation grew so dire that Nathaniel Shaler, dean of the Lawrence Scientific School at Harvard, suggested in 1884 that blacks were becoming extinct. And by 1900, the average life expectancy of an African-American child born in that year was just 33 years, whereas a white child's life expectancy was 50% longer. I gotta stop right there, family. I'm losing my voice. My apologies for going off the rails. It incenses me that in order to get reparations, I gotta fight ADOS, the lineage. It incenses me every time I know we've got to do the work, educating the masses. But it's downright uncomfortable to my mind why we continue this lesser of two evil, two-step shuffle to our own peril and won't invoke a protest vote strategy as suggested by the ADOS movement. They don't say red top. I'm saying red top. I'm the Friends of ADOS community, and I'm saying we need a red top and a blue Congress to protect the over 42% of ADOS who rely on government assistance by design of institutional systemic racism until we're in a financial position to replace the lanes. They can't even muscle up a pair of balls to take Biden down and to not just give him and Kamala the seat of the highest office in the land after them telling us that nothing would fundamentally change and they're not doing anything for our people. I hope you understand why the ADOS movement is fighting long and hard for the ADOS collective. I just shared with you these heinous numbers from Sean's book, and I want to give you some perspective of when he wrote this book because the numbers are definitely more dire. 2017 was the copyright on this book. I can't even read your comments. I need to go soothe this voice because Friday I have a show at 4 and Sunday at 4. If my voice isn't right, I'm going to wait till Sunday. I'm sorry for going off the rails. I love you guys so much, and nothing's changed, right? Everything I just read is happening to us in real time, and we have even less worth amongst the majority of ADOS. You see, all of this is by design of institutional systemic racism. They put all of the failure in our communities. They redline us into environmentally hazardous conditions and won't hire us. Our affirmative action has gone to all the other groups but ADOS, and we're dying disproportionately from everything as a result. It's all by design to extinct us, just like the book suggested, with a copyright date of 2017. There's nothing new under the sun. Now they're trying to make a case to vax us first. Vax us first, when I can't even find the numbers of whites that have died or have been impacted by the COVID. You can find every other POC and ADOS statistics about who's dying and who's infected with the COVID, but I can't find the white numbers. And yet they want to act like they give a damn by lining us up to take the vax first. Not me, nor mine. You do what you will. I'll see how it turns out for you. I will never take it. I don't care how many people drop dead. I'd rather depend on the God in me and my own regime to keep me well. That I've shared with you guys many times. I get plenty of sun. I work out daily. I drink limeade with cayenne pepper, a touch of maple syrup, and chia seeds with a whole lime. I mean the big kind that look like small tangerines out here. Plenty of that has helped to keep the mucus out of my body because COVID can't exist where there is heat. That cayenne pepper or garlic or ginger is that heat. Bring that heat to the body daily, family. As a form, look, I've not even had a cold since doing it, okay? So, listen, I rely on my God mind to tell me what to do, and it is not encouraging me anyway to go anywhere near a vaccine. So I'm saying all this to say, this is 2017. It is far more dire since COVID, and I can't even find the white numbers of the people impacted by COVID, which probably means they're the ones dying disproportionately as they try to set the stage to make it seem like we're the ones dying disproportionately to line us up to take this vaccine to watch what happens to us before they take it. Furthermore, I already had a show about this with Jamie where I shared with you guys about the swine flu epidemic, how the white folks was taking, the wealthy and the presidents was taking one vaccine and they were giving another flu vaccine to the masses, and that was what was killing them and debilitating them. I do believe that there will be two different strains of this thing. So call me what you want, but that's what I believe. So yeah, I get plenty of rest. I meditate. I connect with the oneness of the Spirit of God that is me. Okay. And I encourage you guys to come up with a plan for yourselves because all we got is the God in us and each other. That's it, and that's all. Yeah, Astrid, you're right. What's coming is worse. Cayenne and garlic juicing Yeah, juicing, greens. Keep your body temple proper, and you can stave off everything and keep God first. With that said, family, yeah, thank you at the 400 years. I'm going to try to do better. I keep trying not to go off the rails, but I really insist that 85% of us went to the polls to vote for this without becoming politically educated. I have to remember I'm here to bring political education. I just often feel we're out of time. We're at George Floyd 846. And that's what is in me. That's what drives me to continue with this show. So with that said, family, we're almost at 2 hours. I'll see you guys. I'm going to pray this thing away. This will be done by the morning in the name of the God I serve. So anywho, so I'll be here Friday at 4. I'm going to be talking about the blacks in Biden's cabinet and the blacks progressives that just got elected to show you how little they're doing for the ADOS. On Sunday, I'm bringing you the stimulus. I'll be reading a little more each of those days with the little time I have remaining, just so we can get through this book. It's a very short book. So Sunday, I'll have Dawn Page as my guest. She's going to go over her economic plan that's going to be delivered to Joe Biden on the stages of the March for Reparations in the nation's capital on January 20th and 21st. If you're anywhere on the East Coast and can make it, let us know at marchforreparations.com. If you can't show up, please donate. They need money for their signs and all the things. This is the millennials. Okay. I told them to wait until spring or summer, but the millennials understand what I'm imparting to you. And they know the desperate time called for desperate measures. The millennials are going to Washington, and I'm here for it. And I'm here to support them. They want me to be a speaker. I'll probably do so from Jumbotron because I'm trying to invest in the business of taking the reparations on the road all over the world to get the UN involved in all this under the Friends of ADOS community. So, I may not have the resources to do that right now, but I will be able to speak via Jumbotron if they'll have me. Yeah, Dawn Page is a beast. She'll be here on Sunday. Elderberry tea and green tea. Thank you. You guys read the comments for some awesome suggestions on how to build your immune with prayer and meditation to keep the COVID away. Wear your mask, protect yourself. Okay. But anywho, let me pray you out. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever ADOS and its allies are, God truly is, because you are the face of God. You are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. And with that said, family, you go out here in these streets and know who you are. And you make it a beautiful God-inspired rest of your evening and work week until Friday when we meet again. 4 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. Share this video. Make it go viral, family. We need to teach more people. It needs to get out there no matter what. I love you, Black family. I love you strong. Pieces. Family, peace and love, peace and ADOS love. Ciao for